Triumph and Disaster were all about great design, taking risks, living for a sustainable future, and ultimately making great products that improve people's lives. Someone who defines this philosophy wholeheartedly is the fantastic Kiwi designer, Nat Cheshire. You only need to look and see what's happening here in Auckland's Britomart to see how Nat's helping to change our city and making it a more vibrant and sophisticated place to live. So Britomart, Grand Central, this is where it all started?
For me, yeah. Yeah, like as a place and as a project, it's much bigger than me. Its history is much longer.
What makes you so special that you get this opportunity?
Just layers and layers of good fortune, none of which I can take any credit for at all. And when that much kind of stacks up in your favour, then there's just no choice but just thrash the shit out of that opportunity. And so I just stopped going to bed. I barely slept for about 4 or 5 years. Design is kind of at its base to do with finding very beautiful, simple answers to incredibly complex systematic problems.
And why here? Why not in New York or Sydney?
I just think this is the best place to be in the world right now. I think those big cities, they're kind of done. It's not to say they'll never change, but they're so big that steering them is like trying to steer an aircraft carrier. This little thing is so small, it's so nimble, and it's now so sophisticated that it will turn itself on a dime. And so here we get to experiment in a way that I just couldn't do anywhere else in the world.
Nat is still only 35, a self-confessed workaholic and son of another of New Zealand's most talented architects, Pip Cheshire. As well as Britomart and CityWorks Depot, Nat's projects extend beyond the city limits. A great excuse to get a ride out west in his '67 Mustang to Hobsonville Point. What does a car like this represent?
For me, this is the kind of triumph of the extraordinary over the practical. And it's not something I intend to kind of impose on the world, but within the kind of framework of my own life, it's the kind of bottom line in almost every decision I make. You know, it's incredibly inefficient, it's reasonably unsafe, it's stupidly overpowered, but I think it's just the most beautiful machine ever made. And it's the same, when we're doing a kind of architectural composition, I just am not interested in producing a good scheme. Like, it just has to be the thing that they just can't take their eyes off or they discard immediately on kind of day one. The minute we stop being the enfant terrible, the minute we stop kind of sitting at that leading, very aggressive edge of our discipline and surprising people, and start instead just turning out very solid, robust, dependable, strong, expert work, is the minute I'm just no longer interested.
You talk about chance and opportunity, and here's another one. Are you just the world's luckiest bastard?
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah, I mean, this is the extraordinary thing in the city now, that opportunity is just kind of thick. The chance for Auckland to be a harbour-based city in some ways starts here. The design is just a kind of mechanism, it's just a kind of tool or a weapon, and really what's most exhilarating is the ability to manipulate the culture and the situation and the kind of future.
Is there any fear that comes with that?
Enormously so. I think a large part of my life is kind of governed by fear. It's probably the first emotion I feel when I wake up. Like, that's how you know you're in the right place, right? It's the absence of the fear that is most dangerous.
We have this idea of triumph and disaster, not as a brand, but as a concept. We're overcoming successes and failures in our everyday lives. And what is it to you?
I've just grown kind of relatively disinterested in the triumph. And in many ways it's a kind of hollow thing that by the time we finish something, it's kind of spent, its opportunity is done, it belongs to other people now. And it's the disasters along the way that give the process meaning. Yeah.
So thanks to people like Nat, Auckland's future is bright, and we can look forward to many more architectural triumphs and a few less of the disastrous building failures of the past.